Chiefs Kingdom, it is my favorite time of the week, talking Chiefs news and rumors with you. We got a bunch of questions talking about the latest Chiefs news, rumors, and everything going about that. So, without further ado, my name is Jace Andrews, and let's get into it. Jordan Ramsey sent in a $2 super chat on our live show this Tuesday when this is being recorded. And guess what? Because of that, this has a chance to be one of our topics on next Tuesday's live show. So you want a chance to pick a topic for the Chiefs report? Well, guess what? You can be coming in here, and we're going to do this every single week. His question, or his show idea, what's the top 5 linemen the Chiefs might draft? Well, I'll give you 2 for a little bit of a hint, and we'll do this whole segment potentially next week. Jordan Morgan out of Arizona is one that I have seen a lot of people saying the Chiefs really do like, and they could potentially see him being a draft. Or the other one who has maybe gotten a little bit of talk and has visited the Chiefs, Kingsley Suamataia, the offensive lineman from BYU. Is that correct? BYU. So he could potentially be joining Kansas City. Those are probably the 2 that I would look at first. But hey, Jordan Ramsey, you may be the one to give us a segment idea for next week. However, Lost and Found, I'll also send in a $2 super chat. So have to see which one of you wins out and gets the show idea segment for next Tuesday. Any chance we kick Thuney over to tackle and draft a guard? No, for 2 reasons. The first one being Thuney had a pec injury last year, so you're not going to move somebody who's already injured to a position that he hasn't played in a while. 2, this is a lot better tackle draft class than guard. You have guys, like I just mentioned, Kingsley Suamataia. You have Jordan Morgan. You have Joe Alt at the top of the draft. You've got Olu Fashanu at the top of the draft. Talisi Fuaga, who is a very much of a guy that the Chiefs really like and maybe would trade up for. So I think that's why you have to look here and think, okay, I doubt we're going to move a guy over to tackle when tackle is the position that we could see being drafted in this year's draft. Really appreciate both Lost and Found and Jordan. All right, my homie 15 says #Chiefs. Who is a free agent that is still available that you could see the Chiefs signing? In terms of wide receivers, probably going Tyler Boyd or OBJ. I think those 2 guys are very much in the mix of things. Justin Simmons is the top free agent. I don't see him being taken by the Chiefs just because that price tag on it would just be so incredibly high that I don't think that's going to work. There is one that I have heard potential behind it. Mekhi Becton. Obviously, Jets last year kind of been rumored to be talking with the Cowboys because they are tiny spenders in free agency as per usual. He's a guy that I could see helping bolster up the offensive line. I don't know how likely that is, but it's somebody that I've heard talks of being interested, both sides potentially going. Running back wise, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, we know that they had the meeting last week, and both sides said it was productive. However, in that same day, guess what? That was the re-signing of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, that's being said, doesn't mean that they're not going to sign J.K. Dobbins. It just means if J.K. Dobbins is signed, probably going to happen sometime in June, July area. And that's probably if they don't get a running back in the NFL draft. I appreciate the question. Terry Singleton says, #Chiefs. So there are reports that OBJ Miami has offered him a deal. Sam?
These reports came out a little bit ago. He did visit with Miami a couple weeks ago. Much like the J.K. Dobbins situation, I wonder if it's one of those wait until after the draft and let's reassess. If OBJ hadn't accepted that offer, it's probably because it wasn't a great one. Or he's looking for something better.
Correct. If an offer was there, he's probably waiting on it, and I do agree with you. It's probably one of those situations just like J.K. Dobbins. We like you, but we're not ready to give you an offer just yet. And so we're going to wait here, see what happens at the draft, and then we will potentially re-up the offer, maybe make it a little bit sweeter, obviously, depending on the needs of the team, that they could then maybe make it a little bit better. So no official deal that we've heard of, and if it has happened, probably not sweet enough for OBJ to take it at this current time. So that's the latest on that. Shout out to Sam. Confidence level in the Chiefs completing a three-peat. Want to kind of break up these questions here and ask you what you're thinking about this, because honestly, we're getting closer and closer to the NFL season coming around. College basketball ended just recently. The MLB's now in full swing. Get it? We got the NFL coming up here in just a little bit. We got draft, training camp, all that stuff. It's going to be a fun time. So scale it 1 to 10. What's your confidence level in the Chiefs going and winning Super Bowl 59? 1 being least confident, 10 being most confident. What are we thinking? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I says, what should we do about the left tackle situation? Sign back Donovan Smith or get a lineman in the draft? I'm probably thinking draft a lineman. I know that is probably the better idea. Donovan Smith, for what he was being paid last year, was not deserving of that price. It was not to the point where I would pay him that exact amount of money again. Now, the farther we get here, the price could go down, and that would maybe give us an option to sign Donovan Smith back for a lot less money, which in that case, I wouldn't mind it. However, it sounds as though from reports that we're hearing, the Chiefs like left tackle in the first round. Have to see, though, obviously, the Rashee Rice situation. As that unfolds, could potentially maybe add some wide receiver needs into there. So kind of just right now, waiting to see. But as of right now, I'm saying Donovan Smith, unless the price is right, I'm not going to take him. Wanya Morris last year was solid in the 2 starts that he got. Not saying that I want him to be my starting left tackle. Third round guy. That's just not what I exactly would like to see. But at the same time, they trust him. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens with that. Man, I kind of want Donovan Smith back, but it has to be for the right price. Demon Angels, #Chiefs. How many wide receivers do you see the team getting, whether it's in the draft and free agency, to help out for all the drops last year? All right, well, they already have one, Marquise Brown. That's the first one. Signed him. Past that, you're going to draft at least one in the NFL draft. So that's 2. If Rashee Rice somehow gets out of this and plays, which plays this year, I kind of doubt it at this point, but we'll have to wait and see. I think they may stick with 2, maybe 3, get a late round wide receiver. If Rashee Rice is going to miss more than half the season, which don't know at this point, I would say you probably go out and sign a wide receiver like Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, maybe even a Michael Thomas, something of that nature. Some guy who's not going to be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, a clear wide receiver 3 or something like that. And then you draft a number 1 wide receiver in round 1. I think that's what you do. You trade up for A.D. Mitchell or maybe potentially Brian Thomas Jr. Even I've heard reports of that. So I think those are probably your options. But I would say 3 at the least, 4 at the most is probably my thought. However, guess what? Football season is not just here. It's coming back. It's getting better. And PrizePicks has their football season-long total starting to hop in here. You can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS. We'll show you some of the totals here in just a moment. But if you don't know what PrizePicks is, it's super easy daily fantasy sports. And obviously, football season is king. And now we finally get to put football back in there. It's super easy to play. You choose 2 or more players. You pick their PrizePicks projections and go more or less on them. Then you choose flex or power play. Now, obviously, that depends on your confidence level. Like I said, football is almost getting here. So they're going to, well, not almost getting here, but the draft is getting some popularity back, some little positive vibes out there in the world. So you got the season-long totals for Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Deontay Johnson. Got a bunch more on there if you want to go check them out. I'm going the more on Mahomes and Kelce. I'm going less on Deontay Johnson's season-long receiving yards. I think it's a pretty obvious quote right there why I'm exactly doing both of those. Obviously, though, NBA, NHL, still going on. MLB, they've got those PrizePicks. Masters this weekend. Lots of stuff happening, and there is so many ways you can put some money in there, and so many stat types, so many sports. It's a fun time. So, again, go check it out, prizepicks.com/CLNS. And you use code CLNS, you're going to get that first deposit match of up to $100. You're not going to regret checking it out. We're going to put that link in the comments and the description below. PrizePicks, it's daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, let's go into our questions here again. Tony Fuentes saying #Chiefs. I'm interested in Tyler Boyd, but I just don't see if Boyd can bring a lot of momentum to the squad. More good things, but I'm afraid we'll lose draft capital. It's all north. It's Boyd. It's good, pal. I think, honestly, you're not going to lose draft capital for Tony for Tyler because he is not going to be a trade acquisition. It's going to be a signing. And you have enough money to sign a lower level wide receiver like him. I know that there are some questions. Obviously, he's a little bit older than some of the other wide receivers you would look at. But it's the risk reward is there. We talk about Patrick Mahomes. We talk about how you can make receivers who haven't had a 1,000-yard year in 4 seasons. You see right there. I'm telling you, it's going to be something that we look at here and think, okay, Tyler Boyd maybe hasn't played amazing, but he's been consistent. 15 games, 16 games, 16 games, 17 games. He plays all the time, doesn't have a lot of drops. He'd fit in well, relatively cheap, and he needs some wide receiver help really, really, really bad. Jeff Unraw says, what wide receivers would be available in round 2? Wow. Well, we've talked about this in a recent video, so go check it out. We'll have that in the comments down below. But Xavier Legette is one of them I've seen. Javon Baker is certainly one. Keon Coleman, funny enough, projected first-round wide receiver for about a month. Now, he could be there potentially pick 64 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's one that I'm really, really watching. Top 30 visits, though, in round 2 wide receivers, Javon Baker, Jalen McMillan. Both guys are round 2 labeled wide receivers and have both had a top 30 visit with the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are guys to watch for. Brett Veach has liked them, and he would love to see both of them potentially in the Kansas City Chiefs uniform. Lost and found. I just want to give applause. I mean, if you're sitting here, you're watching the show, let's give a lost and found chant in the chat because he's being nice here. Not only sending in another $2 super chat, he said, do Jordan's question, who doesn't love draft talk? I'll tell you what, lost and found. We're going to include both you and Jordan in the video when we make that next Tuesday. So make sure both you are here because that's the topic, but both you will be included. Man, shout out to you. You're a legend, lost and found. What a guy. What a guy. Giving it to Jordan. Speaking of Jordan, we got a question from him saying, any possibility we can ever trade up for a tight end like Brock Bowers? Yes, there's a possibility. There's always a possibility. However, that would be a big trade-up. A big trade-up. You're talking Brock Bowers, who right now is projected, 7, 8, 9 on the big board? So it's going to be somebody you would have to move up 30-plus, or not 30-plus picks, 25 picks at least, somewhere in that range. That's a lot to give up. And if he falls down to 15, that's where you go in there and you potentially go in and make that sim. So that's what we see there. And I do think that Brock Bowers is a very, very good option. And Jordan not only gets the question in, he says, do both. And I know it has a square there, but guess what? He does the emoji, do both. Man, Jordan, we might have to. They're tied. They're tied. Heck, maybe next week it's a 4-segment live. We should do both. We'll just do both. We'll figure it out. I don't know. Well, we'll talk about both, though, Jordan, for sure. We're going to definitely do that. We really appreciate both you and Lost and Found. Y'all are making yourselves known here on Tuesday. And, hey, you want to pick a topic for a next Chiefs Report episode? Join us on our Tuesday live shows at 3 p.m. Central. If you're watching this after the fact, guess what? We're live right now. Obviously not in that time, but we're live all the time at 3 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday. So come check us out. And like Jordan and Lost and Found, you super chat, you could potentially pick a topic for a future Chiefs Report video in our next live show. All right, I want you to get in the comment section with this one. Name a breakout player for the Chiefs next season. Is there somebody that you maybe didn't see a lot from this past year that you think is going to absolutely become a top-tier level, a key contributor to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024? Well, get in the comment section and let me know. Joe Fazio saying, aside from wide receiver, offensive tackle, and cornerback, who is the most exciting player the Chiefs would select instead of one of those positions if they are available at number 32? Man. All right, you're testing my knowledge here, man, because a lot of things I've been looking here, thinking about both the wide receiver, offensive tackle, and cornerback. But in terms of the Chiefs' needs, I'm probably thinking going linebacker. Sandstrell's a cornerback, right? Mike Sandstrell's a cornerback. So honestly, besides those 3 guys at pick number 32, I don't know if there's anybody available that I would pick over somebody. I think that's kind of a really, really good question. There's a lot of things to kind of take into that. So I truly don't see them taking anybody else, to be quite frank with you. Even if you're reaching on an offensive tackle or wide receiver, that's just kind of my thought. Dallas Countryman saying #Chiefs. What do you think about the Chiefs trading their 2025 first-round pick for a 2024 first-rounder so they could get a wide receiver and an offensive tackle in this year's draft? It really kind of depends on what you're thinking price-wise and what it's going to cost and all that. I know that this is a very good offensive tackle draft. I know this is a very good wide receiver draft. But you also have to understand next year is when Mahomes' contract kicks in. It's when you're going to have Chris Jones' contract again. You need to have a lot of draft picks because you're probably going to have a bunch of rookies in there in your round. It's going to be interesting. I truly do believe, though, it depends on the price. And we're going to have to really stockpile draft picks because those contracts are going to be big and have to really pay them. Harvey Dent. Man, wherever I heard that before. What's your confidence level on Kadarius Toney having a rebound season? I got to be honest. It's a 2. It's a 2. I was so confident in him being a guy who could maybe be somebody big this past season, and he wasn't. If I'm being quite honest, I'm higher on Sky Moore than I am for Kadarius Toney. So that's just my opinion. I really just think it's a 2. I don't think a rebound season is coming for Kadarius. Ed Griffin, are you going to dedicate a segment to a possible relation? Yes, we're going to have that as those come. So we're going to be talking about that. We really do appreciate you kind of talking about that, though. We're definitely going to dedicate a segment, though, to that. So I do appreciate that. Tony Fuentes says, #Chiefs. Will you go live draft night? Unfortunately, probably not. I will be live on our Chiefs, on our main channel. So if you want to check us out on Chat Sports, if you're not already subscribed to our main channel, we can have that linked in the description of this video. But unfortunately, sounds like the Chiefs Report will not be live for draft night. However, that does not mean we won't be getting in videos. Because if you subscribe right now, guess what? We get enough subscribers in the next 10, 20 days, they're going to have to put us live. I'm going to force my bosses to. But the studio space just isn't there for us right now. We'll make videos on everybody, and we're going to have a bunch of this stuff coming out during that time. So do not worry about that. We will have you all covered in terms of that. We appreciate everybody watching. Again, hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Chiefs Kingdom, we certainly do appreciate you hanging out with us. And for now, peace out.